So I basically grew up listening to radio, and I felt like, the media would be something that I'll get into, at some point in my life. And I did get into it. I started in 2012, and it was a bit disappointing to see that what I thought the media was from the outside is not actually what I met, what I saw. You get me? I remember when we were selected to be part of Team Rhythm in 2012, and then someone asked, so what are we going to get paid? And then we're told, you're going to get stipends. You're going to have to work for free, stuff like that. And even while I felt like at that point we were basically didn't know much about radio. We didn't know. For me, it was all in my head. I just kept practicing at home and all that. So it made no sense for them to pay me, but I still felt, I deserved something, Then years later, I started working full time on radio. It was rhythm as well. And it was crazy because, so the time I started in April, it was April 1st of that year I started. And at the end of April, I got told that the station was still owing, February salaries? Feel me, February and March salaries. So I'm like, what is this? I thought it was going to be, dreamland for me and stuff like that. And then it was not until 2 months later that I got my first pay, and then the second one came, and I just couldn't cope with it. It was going to be a 6 month contract, and then later on, get the full employment, based on our performances. And at that point, I didn't think it was something I wanted to continue with, because how do you expect me? I was basically sleeping and waking up in the studio. If you get what I mean, I'll do the morning drive. I'd have to stay for the world news at 12, and then go home, come back in the evening for the evening show, stay till midnight. And obviously, if you know Benin very well, you just can't walk at night in that kind of crazy area. So I'd have to sleep in the studio and then open the station the next morning again. And so it was just like that for me every day, and it was really affecting me mentally. It was affecting me physically. I look back at some of my pictures right now, and I look at myself and be like, is that really me? Because I look like I was suffering. And as I progressed in the industry, I got to realize that, it was an industry thing, basically. That's how it is across many radio stations, because I got to work with 2 more radio stations, and it was basically the same story. I served with a radio station from NYC, and I got 10,000 there as a youth corps member. And then the director said, I want you to stay, but if you're going to stay, I can't give you more than 13,000 there. I left there, went to the next one. We were being paid 100,000 there before tax. But guess what? Salaries kept coming almost at the end of the next month. It affected our performances. It affected our mental health. We couldn't think properly. At some point, we had to how do you say it now? Come up with a mutiny, as it were. All of us agreed that, look, we're not going to work without pay at some point, because it just doesn't make you think straight. It affects your output, and it's for such a wonderful profession. Because you're at home listening to people over the radio, and you hear their lovely voices and all that. Especially when the delivery is so smooth, it's so wonderful. Radio makes you dream. If it's something you like, it makes you want to be there in the studio, And then you get there finally, and then you realize, this place is not what I thought it was going to be. You're being owed salaries. Your bosses are not being nice to you. There's the par game as well at the radio station, because there's OAP feels like they're better than that OAP and all that. It's a mix of so many factors. It really affects your output. But I feel like for those who want to really do radio, if you feel like you can you can go months without being paid, because it's not a one station thing. I mean, I follow this this account on Instagram, and then I see every now and then people coming up with stories of how the radio station keeps owing them salaries and all that. So if you want to do radio, it's something you need to be prepared for, because at some point it will happen. Even the biggest radio stations in Nigeria owe their staff salaries. So I got to find out a couple of months ago. You look at that radio station, you see how big they are, how massive, how everybody wants to be out. Basically, it's every OAP stream, and then finally your friend there tells you, it's actually not how it seems on the outside. So it's quite disappointing, and it shouldn't be like that for such a wonderful profession.